Blog Talk Radio.
Imagine that. Here we go again. I hope everybody likes the idea of all the BS that's been going on. I don't know how many follow politics or whatever, but there's a whole lot of bullshit in my considered opinion that is unnecessary. You don't need to scare the chickens so bad they don't lay eggs. I mean, you know, Lord, ghosts. Now, I have been covering some things over the last few shows that you might want to pay attention to, and there's a reason for that. Well, out of control or what? How deep does this rabbit hole go? Well, my take on it is you got a whole bunch of fun and games, rumors of drastic measures, absolute control, martial law. Woo-hoo. What is the reality? I mean, you know, everybody needs to calm down, take a deep breath, have a beer or whatever it is that flips your flapjacks. There is a plan to reset our planet, social forms, and a world government, like the one in America, a global republic. Just that simple. That's supposedly what's going on. Now, the problem is that somebody, I don't know who it was, but it will be found out. Somebody said they were white hats. And I have not heard white hats do this sort of crap ever. I even know a couple of them. And so what I'm going to try to tell you is I don't think it came from the white hats I'm familiar with. Now, this is not the first time I've heard these things. I've been on the radio off and on since 2010, 28, long in there. And the problem is this. You got to understand where this horse hockey comes from. I don't know if anybody understands horse hockey. Well, horses like to deposit road apples, and if you let them sit up and get good and hard, man, get you a bent stick, you have a lot of fun. You know, see if you can stick it in your buddy's sock or something. So here's how this goes, and I'm going to elucidate on the end of this off the cuff because none of this is written down anywhere. Going all the way back to the origins of many conspiracy theories brings out some inconvenient truths. Conspiracy theories have been going on and going around and hopping up and down and whatever, trying to scare the shit out of everybody. Ooh, it's going to sneak up on you while you're sleeping. You won't even hear it coming. You won't see it until it's got you by the throat. Oh, boy. Talk about fear porn largesse. What about what the mainstream media and all these other so-called, I know what I'm doing people, they call them experts. I call them other things. It's really simple. All of this is predicated on the idea that certain people in power can influence events, can cause things to happen. Well, this is an end result. Guess what? The deep state opened a Pandora's box, and Pandora's box gave them a big and bit them on the ass. All of a sudden, shipping stopped. Oh, my God. My moneymaker. Uh-huh. Oh, boy. Anyway, the ideology is now we got a whole bunch of people that refuse to be public in terms of going out and about simply because they don't want to catch this crap. Man, I don't blame them. Now, the problem with it is that maybe, and I'm saying maybe, 2% are subject to serious impacts by this disease. 2%. That's, 5 times less than the general everyday common variety flu goes around. If it is known that certain events are to take place at a time in the future, then planning is easier. How do you plan for something like this? Well, I have told people about the plan, and some people poo-pooed it. A few people, very few, had the capability to access the knowledge that the plan is not only real, but that it very well exists, and certain little portions of it are being put out. Now, these portions that are being put out call for some extraordinary changes in what we're used to. But from about our present civilization's beginnings, that's the beginning of man as civilized people rather than animals, a lot of world events have been known. These were definite, with no doubts. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard of people that are seers or prognosticators or predictors or bearers of special knowledge of the prophecies that are written in stone and cannot be fooled with. Well, I hate to bust your bubble, but first, there ain't no prophecy of any kind, no matter where it says it comes from or where it's written down, that is absolute. And the reason for that is you look up what a prophecy stipulates. Oh, yeah, planet Earth's going to come to an end someday in millions of years in the future. Oh, yeah, mankind might experience serious die-offs. That's what happens when you have ancient diseases captured in ice, and the ice melts and turns it loose. That's what this supposedly is a part of. Not true. It's a straight-up lab rat. It is a bioweapon. The seers started out reporting things dealing with short-term predictions. Oh, you know, we're going to have wetter than normal season. We're not going to have the crops we're supposed to have, or we're going to have, oh, man, look at this. We're going to have an abundance. And some even longer-term events. Now, those longer-term events started out in the beginning. The short-term was, weeks, few weeks, maybe a month. The other guys, they're going half years and years. That's long-term. Now, here's what Webster's Dictionary says about conspire, and it is number 2 of the second part of this, to act in harmony toward a common end. Now, that means that each and every last, oh, you love it. I love it. That means each and every last sports team are conspiracy theorists. They theorize that if they do their conspiracy right and do things correct according to what they can get away with, bingo, we win the game. Yeah, I mean, you've seen basketball, football, and all that. Most top people, and I mean most, every last one of them, conspire to their benefit. Or, and this is on there, that would be an individual doing an individual thing for his company or whatever, or as requested by certain power brokers. Now, you got to watch who the power brokers are. There's a certain Right Reverend Roland Wrong speech out there who happens to be a person of color, and all that boy does is piss me off. He's so full of shit it hurts. But if you want the black vote, you kiss his ring. Remember the Godfather? Think about it. It's more prevalent and more real than people even have a clue to. And more than one or a small group agrees to the idea. Generally, several ideas come together and point in the direction of an agenda. Ooh, what's an agenda? Well, an agenda is an agreement to accomplish a certain goal. And these people get together as a group to accomplish that goal. It could be making a large load of money. I mean, it could be just making sure that their widget is prominent, whatever it may be. Now, seeing how screwed up things I got that all redlined and everything, are presently, and everybody knows how screwed up things are presently, the coming agenda is laid out in actions to be taken at specific times and dates. About. In other words, you do something, it may not be on the specified date or at the time that people think it should happen, but they get it to happening, and then there is a wants and needs period. You want to have it by such and such, but you got to have it by a certain point. The results of these things, these actions, are exactly what you're looking at. This is an agenda. This is is what the seers saw. We can see, and seeing into the future is not as difficult as you think. Seeing how screwed up things are presently, the coming agenda is laid out in actions to be taken at specific times and dates. Now, I decided to be squirrely and as usual, and I posted that. It says White Hat's itinerary, and it specifies the approximation of what, when, where, and how. Today, as you know, we're not dealing in the past. Today, we, and that's a royal we, all red line and everything, we are facing a flu bug on steroids, a bioweapon. What does that mean? Well, it was designed specifically to take out certain types of genetics. Ooh, what's that mean? Well, very, very simply, certain people have a genetic marker that stipulates Iranian, Tasmanian, or whatever. That is one of the markers that they used. Oh, and by the way, it's not working real well either. Imagine that. And they turned the bug loose, and the bug decided to turn around and change its itinerary. Oh, you mean you're not going to get such and such? And well, guess what? Let's take this to the next step. Have you listened to the news lately? If so, you are probably going to be exposed to the traumatization of mainstream media's hyperbole on, ooh, coronavirus is going to eat you up. It'll sneak up on you while you're asleep. You won't hear it coming, and it'll be too late when it's got you by the throat and you can't make it down to get your shot. There's two types of takes on this, and the two takes are simple. There is one, which is a preventative that contains only the antigen and clinically pure water. Then you got the other kind that has a tendency to cause your system to blow up. Call them vaccines. Why do you think that there is so much brain damage caused by the use of vaccines on children and or old people, or even some people that seem to be perfectly healthy? Well, now we get into the fun part. We got to close off the main places where people congregate. This is not age specific. They're closing universities. Now, you want to get into the fun of the seriousness as to what is being taken? Well, how many people know about the Muslim prayers? Seriously, that's an absolute, pretty much absolute requirement. If you don't comply, they'll be chopping parts of your anatomy off or some such. Now, in the United States, several states have declared emergencies over a flu bug. Give me a break. Of all the deaths all over the planet, divide that by anywhere from 4 to 6 billion. See what kind of funny little percentage thing you get that goes out further than the numbers on the treasuries. Only. You be sure to mark this in your little bookies or in your notes. Put red lines under it like I have. Only after majority of declarations, and that's a state emergency, can the feds declare a countrywide medical emergency. And that's critical. Many states don't have to. I mean, at 2%, maybe 5% requiring medical attention, maybe. That's from Italy. I posted it. Go read it. It's on the Facebook page. If somebody don't have access to the Facebook page, help them out. Everything I do, you can copy it and paste it and play with it or whatever you want to do. Just don't change it. The heresy or scuttlebutt is that after we get that medical emergency countrywide, martial law will be declared. Ooh, we got to control and contain this disease. I don't know how many free-thinking people there are out there, people who have any kind of common sense as to what the transpiration is, but and I named it correctly, heresy, hearsay, or scuttlebutt, is that after that, martial law will be declared. There's a big problem with that, and I mean a huge one. That is that they don't have the manpower to do that. You heard that right. Think about it very carefully. People are not going to bust people's heads who happen to be their neighbors or people that they know fairly well. Ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. Not something that is feasibly possible, let's say. You have to understand, we got 330 million people on the average or something in that neighborhood. Well, how is somewhere around 10% of that, if that many, and I don't think it's that many, are going to enforce their neighbors to do what the government is telling them that they have to do? How many people are willing to obey belligerent commands that don't have any basis in fact? Ooh. Well, now, after martial law is supposed to be declared, and I think these people are idiots that stated this, but I decided to make sure everybody hears about it. So consequently, I'm putting it out there for that simple fact. Everybody needs to listen to this, because you're going to have a bunch of mothers out there going, "Ooh, it's coming!" Well, go hide in the trash can then if you're that paranoid. Following this, that's after martial law. The timelines are not real specific either. Following this, a world government is put in place, a republic form like we have now. Now, then ET's supposed to land at the White House and disclose everything and bring care packages and all this other happy shit. Well, guess what? I don't know who these people are, but that's not what ET's been telling me. It ain't near time yet. And none of this other crap is going to hold water. Well, my. These things are old ghosts that have tried to haunt us all for years. Oh, the sky is falling. Oh, my God, Now, I posted stats on all this stuff from Italy. None of these numbers agrees with mainstream media. I wonder why that is. Well, the true mainstream media is concerned, as they should be, in a very generalized way. Nothing specific, nothing written in stone. Can't be. Why? Well, I told you. Prophecies are funny that way. So, we have a whole bunch of fun and games going. And it's not a situation where people get what's happening. But the world leaders have gotten together and decided that they're going to have to take care of things on a global basis. This doesn't have nothing to do with the New World Order crap. That's primarily horse hockey put out by the deep state. It has everything to do with the ideology that things can no longer continue the way they have been for the simple fact that they don't work right. Why? Too many disagreements. And too many people going, hey, dog breath, you know, come here. Trump's India statecraft is forward-thinking and necessary. Good move, President Trump. This trip hinted at the possibilities of a very bright future. If India and the U.S. can form a common bond built on the rule of law, national sovereignty, and democracy, they will be much more prosperous and safe. Well, I think it's interesting. This presidential tale is not defined by tweets, but by true statesmanship. In other words, the man is really, honestly, taking care of business in spite of all the horse manure going on. Oh, my goodness. Sanders' nomination is Nancy Pelosi's nightmare. Sanders ain't going to get nominated. He should have gotten that message along with maybe a copy of a memo stipulating that, sorry, man, Bernie, you're burned up, dude. You're done again. Well, Hillary did it around the back, in the shadows, undercover and all that. Well, guess what? Very simply, several things are going on. People don't want socialism. There's another thing by the letter from the editor. Democrats climacteric Super Tuesday. Oh, boy. We got to use some of them educated words. Hugo, I got a suggestion. Quit trying to be all that and just say it. I wrote it in red underneath that. Biden won big. Well, Joe Biden's still not the greatest thing on two legs. Marxist Bernie Sanders. This might be supernova politics we've known explodes. Ooh, what will it happen? Well, it happened the Super Tuesday this past week. Socialism versus America. Watching a party decide whether to blow away restraints and choose a champion whose promises to change the nation radically are not the sort of aspirational vapors voters always hear. This time, one of the two big parties would accept an agenda to make America into a very different and much worse, no longer a shining light of freedom, but a busted polity falling for the blandishments of a squalid egalitarianism that always fails. Ooh. Up until now, Democrats have camouflaged their radicals to con the electorate. I'm going to read that one again. You need to hear it. Up until now, Democrats have camouflaged their radicals to con the electorate. Sanders trumpets admiration for Fidel Castro, the Soviet Union confiscating health care choice from 160 million citizens. Ooh. Here's a clear mandate. The party hierarchy is in a state of utter panic. Oh, my God. We can't have that shit. Look what happened on the vote. It's not difficult to get this under your head. It's not, you know, it'll fit under the hat, under your hat, believe me. This Lent, Facebook is the new booze. What does it profit a man to give up watching television if he can't brag about it daily on Facebook? Ooh. Proverbial Trump for Lent. One survey in 2019 found that social media was now the thing most given up during Lent, surpassing the longtime leader, alcohol. Facebook users see it as a vice to be tamed or an addiction to be overcome. Your browser knows precisely what sort of dopamine hit you're looking for. Welcome to the machine. It's a compulsion, and thus Lent provides a period of detox. Increasingly, people come to Twitter or Facebook in search of bad opinions, to skewer or to wave high like a bloody flag, calling the masses to mob the infidel. Well, you're better look in the mirror. That mob's liable to be coming for you. For whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Don't forget these lines. You know, we live in an atmosphere polluted by too much verbal violence. Oh, you're a feathermucker. Too many offensive and harmful words which are amplified by the internet. Well, then they got this one. It's a quickie, but I like it. What if your neighbor was a Republican? And I scratched out that question mark and put or Dem. 538 focuses on opinion poll analysis, and it does not do the job correctly. Why do I say that? Because there is a human factor involved in opinions, morality, and all this other happy stuff, the direction you'd like to see things head towards, that cannot be programmed. Too many variables. Politically segregated, oh my God. On South Jackson, Mississippi, New Orleans, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Birmingham, Alabama, and Shreveport, Louisiana. That's 538. 538 found a strong correlation between racial segregation and political segregation, particularly bolstered by the overwhelming percentage of black people who vote Democrat. I hate to tell you guys, but this is a straight-up message to everybody of color, no matter if you're Latino, black, or what. Don't be stupid. Don't play the fool. Do not vote for the Democrats. And the reason I say that is because what little you got now, they're going to come after. I'll think about that very carefully. What little you got now, they're going to come after. Ouch. Places shape people. Not politics, places. Well, oh boy. China, this is a headline, that's all I'm going to read. China's political warfare strategy takes hit from coronavirus. Ooh. You mean our Silk Road needs to be washed because it's got funkies on it? Oh, storm of the century. Bernie Sanders has dragged the Democratic Party back to a radicalism it has long been able to resist at the presidential level. And they got a caricature of Bernie with a raising hell and screaming and whatever on the following page. Minnesota Nice just doesn't play nationwide. That's Amy Klobuchar. Okay, can't you have to be enough of a radical in your beliefs to be able to be charismatic. What do you think happened to a certain wealthy mother that dropped out? How democracy weakened the parties. Oh, boy. Well, the problem is outsiders such as Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump now dominate the nation's political landscape. Oh, my God. Heaven forbid. Trump's bad Taliban deal. How would you know? I'd like to understand how you would know. Oh, and by the way, we bombed the crap out of them recently for coming after people we told them not to. That is stipulated and specified in detail in that agreement. Here we go. Spy law stalls in Congress amid bipartisan reform demands. Republicans focusing on FISA, Democrats on warrantless surveillance. Oh, let the political infighting begin. Oh my goodness, bring popcorn. Here we go. And these people are trying to go carbon neutral. Ain't happening. Why not? Well, it just can't. Utilities wonder what role natural gas plays in reaching zero carbon. They may have to look to Congress for assistance. Well, you think a wind farm something, a wind turbine, it's got a heavier footprint. Bear this in mind, along with electric cars and a whole bunch of that sort of happy crap, guess what? Bigger footprint than a gas guzzler or burning coal to produce your electricity. Goodbye to marijuana testing, drug testing at work. Increased legalization is taking its toll on such things. You got the there's a whole bunch of fun and games that's going on that are not cool. The problem is that they're focusing in the wrong directions. My. Warning, election meddling could put 2020 winner in doubt. Boxes of voter registration forms at Iowa Democratic Party headquarters. Picture in the magazine. Pandemic preppers, grab weapons. Well, I'm going to tell you, yeah, you ought to have a gun. Why? Because if the internal disruption of deliveries of goods and services happens at the same level it happened globally, people that have food and water and whatnot are going to be targeted. Oh, my goodness. Some Western big shots are ready for the potential further outbreak of coronavirus by stocking up on prepper goods, including pistols, rifles, and ammo, and signing up at camps where they can hide out. That ain't going to do you no good to try to hide. They got Fortitude Ranch Camp in West Virginia and a few other places. I've talked to these people, and I've studied what they got. You guys ain't going to survive any better in those places than some kind of standard house somewhere. Now, this is something everybody that flies or has taken an airplane needs to know about. It's called Real ID. New ID to fly domestically could clog security lines come October 1st. As many as 500,000 passengers may not have the proper ID. The Real ID was created in 2005. It's a little red star. You got to prove who you are and a bunch of other things for your driver's license. Very simple. Not complicated. None of this stuff is really complicated. And once you get the skinny on it, you can pretty much tell what's going on. Oh, my. High fidelity is stuck in the past. No, it isn't. There's a lot of people turning down the ideology of electronic reproductions of music, among other things, for the simple fact that it does not have the quality of sound that a plain old phonograph does. Ooh, here's Gurdon. This is one of the columnists. Bernie Sanders falls at the final hurdle. I wonder what that means. Is that the specific of Bernie, you ain't getting in? Oh, boy, oh, boy. Any other president, it's about Trump now, and this is Barnes feeding the base. Any other president would have seen a need to soften his bullying style and make his agenda more likable. Well, I can make it more likable. Very simple. If anybody thinks they're coming to get my guns, they're going to have a gunfight. Just that simple. We'll see who's best. Real quick. And I'm pretty damn good, believe it or not. You want to take this to the next step? The people of West Virginia told their government, cut the crap. And they did. Now, that's over guns. Just guns. What happens when you get into something really serious like health care? You think that there ain't going to be some ring around the rosy on that? You think you won't need popcorn while the entertainment goes on? Post-protectionist India's future is bright if it maintains pluralism and democracy. Yeah. York, is the Intelligence Committee planning to meddle in the 2020 election? Yes. They're going to try to put their influence in it so that they can come out with the people they want in office. Just that simple. California holds key to convention chaos. Well, guess what? California is basically hemorrhaging citizens. They're leaving. Barone. Now, this guy's good. I got to give this man credit. He writes well, and he don't play with what's going on. Are non-whites voting more like other Americans? The answer to that is yes. And why and how is that? Real simple. Trump asked already once, what the hell you got to lose? Really? And what have we gained? Look at what has been going on. You have to understand what the limitations are. I think Dirty Harry said it. Man's got to know his limitations. Well, I'm going to play a song. You got to listen to what this says, and it fades away. Oh, my goodness. How far does the rabbit hole go? Editor's letter by William Falk of the week. Oh, my. Virus, strictly speaking, are not alive. They are tiny sets of genes bundled with protein cells with one singular function, to replicate. Like these cells and other common features of living organisms, viruses are parasitic zombies. Ooh. They infect the living cells, hijack the genetic machinery, and mass produce replicas of themselves. A single sneeze can release 100,000 viruses into the air. Ooh. Common cold is a virus, so is influenza, measles, HIV, and Ebola. The new coronavirus, it ain't new. COVID-19 has joined the list of humanity's viral scourges after apparently jumping species from its original host, bats. You wish you were correct about this. Mr. Falk, you need to do your homework. Try a bioweapon that was released on purpose from a laboratory, and you begin to get the picture. This is more than 80,000 people, and infectious disease experts say it's coming to America. Ooh. One way or another, it will affect all of our lives. Well, now, if this agenda that these people are talking about, this itinerary, is anything kind of like anything else that's come up, it's a mother, okay? You got real serious problems all over the place. I estimate a mortality rate of 2%, 2 to 3%. That's it. What's 2% of 1 billion? What kind of percentage is that? You know, get your calculator out and you exercise them artificial brains and look at the number. Well, guess what? Within a few days, shipping stopped. Markets tanked. Shipping restarted, and a showdown begins between, very simply, the need for speed in terms of what we want from our moneymakers. Moderates seek to stall Sanders' momentum. No, they're shutting him down. You take my word for it. Russia's new election interference campaign. False and bad intel. Sorry, intel people, but they can't get in. They tried and it didn't work. Weinstein is his conviction a turning point? No, but it's a start. I know that some of this is old news stuff you've heard before. Here we go. Washington, D.C., blacklist. The Trump administration has assembled a list of disloyal officials to purge and replace with pro-Trump alternatives. Axios.com reported this week. The list identifies snakes and bad people across the bureaucracy, but especially deep state intelligence officials. Guess what? Intelligence community, you're about to get your laundry done. After the election is when this is supposed to really hit the fan. So where does that leave us? Trick bag. Canada, blockade broken. Canadian police have broken up a blockade by First Nations members. The Indians have had enough of this. The Mohawks were arrested and all this other happy shit. What does that prove? That proves corporatocracy over the preservation of a way of life. Ooh. Let's see. Encampment set up by members of the Onondaga Mohawk Territory are protesting in solidarity with Wet'suwet'en activists trying to block a natural gas pipeline in British Columbia. Oh, I remember a problem like that right here in the States. And just like we lost, they lost too. Port-au-Prince, Haiti, cops versus troops. Big old gunfight. I mean, huge. Canceled the carnival festivities after police and soldiers fought an hours-long gun battle outside the presidential palace. Think about it. A lot of these things that I'm reporting on that I talk about are imported. Bear that in mind. Alice, Belgium. Pride of anti-Semitism. Ooh. They're looking to, they got people dressed in Nazi SS uniforms, depicting Orthodox Jews with insect body. They're really going all out on this. It's our parade, our humor. People can do whatever they want, said the spokesman for the mayor's office. Well, guess what? Y'all are playing games with something that shouldn't be messed with. I'd leave it alone if I was you, but that's just me. Boy, Trosly-Baril, France. Future saint and abuser, the late founder of French charity who was seen as a likely candidate for sainthood in the Catholic Church, has been exposed as a serial sexual predator. Imagine that. I mean, you know, just Tehran, the virus spreads, and they're going spastic over it because they don't have any medical capability after the sanctions were put on them. My. Tehran, gloomy public boycotts vote. Hardliners swept Iran's parliamentary elections last week. They had a voter turnout of 42.5%, the lowest since the '79 Islamic Revolution. Oh my goodness, unbelievable! Think about it. In Tehran, turnout was only 25%. People have had enough. Khomeini, you might want to rethink what you're talking about and doing. I got South Korea alarm over COVID-19. South Korean President Moon Jae-in put his country on the highest state of alert this week over the new coronavirus. Ooh. My. The growing viral threat. Now, this is a briefing thing, and it's full of horse shit. They keep using the word pandemic, horse crap. Epidemic. I mean, you know, Jesus. What does it take to, how do you enlighten somebody who refuses it? Why we don't trust our government? No, any government. I mean, it's just one thing after another. You guys make a mess of things. And then in Germany, the growing threat of far-right terrorism. What about the leftist terrorism? I've heard of a thing called Antifa that needs to have its head broke. Ooh. In the wake of the bloodshed, outraged Germans poured into the streets to demonstrate in solidarity with Muslims and immigrants. Well, maybe you guys ought to quit trying to enforce your crap on everybody else, and especially people that don't want it and won't listen to it. Why did it take us so long to wake up to the danger? A neo-Nazi gang murdered nine immigrant shopkeepers, 2000 to 2007 attacks that police initially blamed the Turkish mafia. Get real. In 2016, a teenager with radical right-wing beliefs shot 9 people dead in a Munich mall. My. Politician Walter Lübcke, who supported the resettlement of refugees in Germany, was assassinated at his home by a neo-Nazi last June. 4 months later, a far-right extremist killed 2 people while attempting to attack a synagogue in Yom Kippur. You got to understand, there are a lot of people out there that have had enough of your idea of the ideology that governments can force diversity up your whatevers. They're not going to put up with it. It's not going to happen. In early February, mainstream parties partnered with the Fascist Alternative for Germany, AfD, to select the state governor in Thuringia. And days later, 12 Germans, one police employee, were arrested over a far-right plot to spark a civil war. Unhinged, this particular mania is spreading. There we go. Racists used to feel ostracized, but now they can easily find cohorts online and have a political home in the AfD, the third largest group in Bundestag. AfD lawmakers routinely give hate-filled speeches in which they claim the white race is being replaced by brown-skinned interlopers and call for resistance against migrants. Now, I don't have anything against migration. Do it right. These extremist words spark extremist actions. If Germans don't rise up in righteous rejection of AfD, we will head back down a dangerous path. Oh boy, Brazil. Senators and cops flout the law. The shooting of a senator by mutinous police shows that Brazil is spiraling toward lawlessness. Ooh, got to watch this stuff. Now, here we go. We got victims, and there's all kinds of them. In this particular take, nuclear families, the problem, not the solution. Now, it used to be that there was huge families. The reason being is that tending crops in the field and whatnot took a lot of hands. So, nuclear families. Here's the definition according to this article. Oh, and they don't give any attribute to whomever might have wrote it, but nuclear families, a married mom and dad and their children. It worked for a time, but as our society has embraced self-fulfillment, autonomy, and privacy as ideals, the nuclear family has turned into a catastrophe. Really? Not really. The social ills that are blamed on the nuclear family, drug epidemics, rising rates of suicide, depression, and income inequality are actually the awful consequences of its collapse. Think about that very carefully. If you got somebody who can take up some of the slack, you're in a lot better shape than somebody who doesn't. Very simple. Progressives, they're so fixated on freedom and individuality they can't concede the high cost of family breakdown and leaving so many kids and adults on their own. My. Only Astros cheated. Maybe they ought to lose their title. Here we go again. COVID-19 turning into a pandemic? No, I scratched it out. Epidemic, you dinglebats. 61% of Americans say they are better off now than they were 3 years ago, the highest percentage when an incumbent was running in a presidential election dating back to 1992. That's some time. Oh, and the cartoons are freaky. Really freaky. Some of the problems have been taken care of. Elections. Political ads burn up every screen, and they are boring. Just what they need to do. Quit it. Why? If I get too many ads of that sort on any particular channel, I change channels. I'm not going to listen to that happy crap. Nobody that I know of has very much of a really good idea as to what should be done. I wish they did, but I haven't seen it yet or heard of it yet. Let's see, is there any more in this magazine? I think I'm done with this now. Got one. I see one turned down. I dog-eared the pages. Ooh, Generation Q. Q is an intelligence officer. Get over yourselves. Now, he also offers dangerous truth. And it's QAnon. Oh, boy. Started out on 8 channel. They now live in 8KUN, a new website built by 8 channel's owner. Fringe theories. No. Inside jobs. 9/11 terrorist attacks and inside jobs. No, but it was approved by people that were in a position to stop it. Seduced by the movement's wild, often violent fantasies, including claims that Hollywood celebrities are part of a satanic child trafficking ring. That one has happens to be true. And it's been proven. Oh, my goodness. Maybe the person that wrote this might want to back up and do their homework, but the source is the New York Times, so you see how that goes. Reddit barred a cluster of QAnon groups from its platform in 2018. Oh, my. After a spate of violent threats from members, and Apple pulled a popular QAnon app from its App Store. Oh, other social platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, still host large amounts of QAnon content, rules, hate speech, targeted harassment. Oh, can't violate any of that, really? Adherents described QAnon as a lifestyle or a religion that said it had become their primary source of political news and analysis. I wouldn't do that under any circumstances. Would I take on any singular thing as my only source? Political science professor at University of Miami. QAnon is not just an idea. It's an ongoing thing that people can sort of get into and follow along with that keeps them entertained. Entertainment. Hello, QAnon. Maybe the ultimate manifestation of Trump-inspired conspiracy mongering. Oh, conspiracy theory. No. Whenever a group of people get together and work together toward a common goal, that's a conspiracy. They are conspiring. QAnon adherents have complained that security officials keep people from bringing their gear into the rallies. My. And that's Trump rallies. The campaign said it permitted only approved signs and licensed merchandise at its events. Oh, we got things like Pizzagate. But and they try to get rid of that, and the only problem is it's still running, guys. Growth in popularity. QAnon's tangible presence is not limited to clothes, bumper stickers, and campaign signs, all of which are found for sale on Amazon. Mesa Community College in Arizona, where an adjunct professor of English began working it into classroom lectures, he was fired last summer after students complained. Oh, really? Maybe the students are snowflakes. I pray that you see the truth about POTUS and Q and their war against the trafficking of children. Yeah, well, now, what do you have to do? You get congressional candidates that favored QAnon was suspended from the platform in November after suggesting that the Democratic incumbent, Omar, be hanged for treason. Well, guess what? She should be lucky that they repealed that law about Muslims, and I mean that quite seriously. They're either jailed or hung, executed. Emails, the discussion to side with Twitter regarding my suspension for advocating for the enforcement of federal code proves that the New York Times and Twitter will always side with and fight to protect terrorists, traitors, pedophiles, and rapists. Pretty simple. City council member. For far too long, we have been silent and allowed our bands and strength that were once formed to defend freedom and liberty to deteriorate. We became divided. We became weak. We elected traitors to govern us. And anybody can look around and see that. Reprimanded. Whoa. This is a justice of the peace. It was reprimanded by the State Judicial Board. Your world of fake news and liberal agendas that give away our country to foreigners and protect the Clintons and Obamas is coming to an end. And it is, according to some people I've talked to, researchers who track conspiracy theories. Oh, the potential for violence by unstable individuals who fall under its weight, particularly in the fraught political climate of the 2020 election. Ooh, gotta watch it. Intelligence bulletin identifying QAnon as a potential domestic terror threat. The FBI warned that partisan conspiracy mongering in the United States was being exacerbated by the uncovering of real conspiracies or cover-ups by political leaders. Oh, it's nasty, especially because you got caught. No, I didn't mean it. You know, and social media was serving as an incubator for groundless theories and inspiring followers to take action. I will suggest that you don't get the gun out and go after people. That is not cool. Today's information environment has changed the way conspiracy theories develop, spread, and evolve. Entertaining political violence, as QAnon attracted a bigger following, it would eventually come to include a dangerous, if tiny, subset of adherents. Ooh, once you have reached a threshold of people, that particular apple is going to show up in the barrel. And that's true. Oh, my goodness. I finished that whole magazine. That wasn't too bad. Let's see if I can get through the next one as quickly. This would be National Review. Our global birth dearth is not necessary for a country's gross domestic product to always grow for the economy to be successful. That's the best statement I've heard anywhere in a long time. You don't got to grow it. You don't got to push excess by way of credit cards or whatever in order to keep something solid. Abortion and overpopulation, oh boy, particularly empirical import and moral concerns. Existing academic research suggests that the impact of contraception on birth rates has been greatly inflated by both its critics and its enthusiasts. So too with abortion. The moral issue, oh my goodness, overpopulation, many heads, overpopulation concerns relate to climate, water, food, land, energy, traffic, hierarchy, genetics, and democracy. And the good old conspiracy theory under Agenda 21 of only 100 million people. Now, here's something I like. It will be something if 2020 ends up being a choice between a crass and vain New York City billionaire and an ugly Twitter habit and Donald Trump. I hope Donald Trump reads some of this stuff. He should. It's extraordinarily humorous. Substantial gun control continues to prove elusive in the United States, even where the Republican Party and the NRA are outnumbered. 2019 voters in Virginia did a number on it. Supermajority of Virginia's counties had declared themselves sanctuaries in which any laws that were deemed unconstitutional would be ignored. And the governor stand up to the NRA, as always. The task turned out to be harder one of standing up to the voters it represents. South Dakota passed Child Protection Act, 46-23. Love it. And that's Republican-controlled South Dakota Senate, all right? 3 high school girls have filed a federal lawsuit against Connecticut for allowing boys to compete against them in sports. You go, girl. Seriously. That is an unfair practice. Jesse Smollett got 6 county felony indictments. They ought to nail his whatever to a wall somewhere for what he did. Michael Avanti, guilty on 3 counts of attempted extortion of the sports giant Nike. Oh, my goodness. Coordinated effort. Democratic state attorneys generals, federal judge threw out their meritless complaint. New York's dopey attorney general, Letitia James, complained that the merger would endanger mobile phone users and decried the pursuit of mass corporate profits. Oh, my God. Can't have somebody be, Sprint and T-Mobile can't do that. Guess what? You're a bit late to the party. They've been doing that for years. U.S. federal prosecutors indicted 4 members of China's military on charges of hacking into the credit reporting agency Equifax and stealing sensitive data of 145 million Americans. Oh, man. This is getting more than I want to fool with, but it needs covered. Oh, my goodness, they got Bernie Sanders trying to put a saddle on a really frantic donkey. That donkey is freaking right out. Can he be stopped? Bernie Sanders can follow a Trump-like path to his party's nomination. The fix is in. I wrote this in. And can he be stopped? It's already been done. Look at Super Tuesday, and you get it. You get the skinny on what really has taken place. Equal Rights Amendment, back from the 70s. Guess what? You're too friggin' late. There is a limitation. It's DOA, and the title of the thing is a zombie amendment. So, Equal Rights Amendment is dead. Didn't get ratified by enough people. South Park as a healing mechanism? Oh, my goodness. Now, here you go, snowflakes. Pay attention. Everyone's taste doesn't have to conform to your sensibilities. Get that through your head, or somebody will melt your snowflake. South Park, and I underlined that and said, funny cartoon. It is sometimes. Oh, it's offensive. Seems impossible to overstate the cultural damage done. Oh, my. The vast majority of people in the replies disagreed. Oh. So it's nothing more than a safe space for white guys. Twitter. That website is nothing but trouble. I should know. I'm on it constantly. Oh, my goodness. Transphobia for its episode about transgender athletes. Oh, guilty. Oh, my. Anything that anyone holds sacred deserves to be lampooned and satirized. Think about that very carefully, and the reason I stipulate that is that everybody knows about Hustler Magazine. If you don't, check one out sometime. Go on our website or whatever. Real simply, they showed a certain major preacher having sex with his mother in an outhouse as a joke. And they won their case before the Supreme Court. If you can't look at something and laugh at it, forget it. Billionaires and baristas. Oh, my goodness. A visit to a place where millionaires need affordable housing. Aspen, Colorado. Most expensive residential real estate markets in the United States. It's on the list. Some of those deed-restricted properties will sell for upwards of $1 million. But they are, by local standards, a bargain. Millionaires, please. Remember, measly millionaires of the $1 or $2 million variety need not even bother looking too hard in Aspen. This is a town of billionaires and baristas. Think about it, a place where rich progressives, the country went 70% for Mrs. Clinton in 2016, have gotten together and, despite their best intentions, created a greenback cast dystopia of their own worst nightmares. An economy with Silicon Valley kingpins and Wall Street douche rockets at the top, relative low-wage service workers at the bottom, and not a hell of a lot in the middle. Aspen's housing authorities aim to put half the workers who are locally employed into subsidized housing one kind or another, and they won't let them build it. So that's kind of, shockingly expensive. Oh, my goodness. It goes on and on. I've talked about this, where you've got places where the rent is $3,400 a month. Now, who the hell can afford that? You got to make a shit pot of money if you're going to do that. The factors of most severely constrained housing are in the main political. So, little Aspens are all over the place. Affordable project managers, the forces that are at work on this small community are more intense than they are on average in the rest of the U.S. And they've been at work there since at least the mid-'80s. You're screwed. Forget it. Oh, the Google Pinata. Opposition to development has made housing unavailable in the Bay Area. Median price for a one-bedroom rental is the highest in the nation at $3,700 a month. Hello. Don't dismiss this. They're going to try to price everybody out into the woods. San Francisco's cultural pulse is dead, and what remains is on life support. Well, the reason being is that you've got a really serious problem of progressives holding the purse strings and controlling a lot of it. That's where the problem comes in. These people are acting like Democrats. Imagine that. The unbuildable American home, how regulations, land use restrictions have made it too expensive to build. And this person tried for a number of years in order to get the possibility going. Oh, boy. The rival constitution, I question that, and I say it ain't happening. The Age of Enlightenment, America, since the 60s, really? There are many reasons the right, in spite of the Republican Party's electoral successes, steadily loses ground to the left with each passing decade. Well, the problem is you guys don't show up in the right places in order to get the benefit of the Electoral College. The left controls all the elite institutions that bestow praise and lay blame in America. It has a clarity of purpose, a resolve, and ruthlessness that are generally lacking on the right. Most important, though, it is the left's moral framework that is authoritative. Piety's rule are enforced by conservatives and liberals alike. Not really. Not everyone in America either believes in or defers to the left's hierarchical points, the politics of victimization. Victimization. Are you a victim? You don't have no better sense than to be a victim. The country's official mythology in the beginning, only straight white men were free. I remember this statement, free, white, and 21. It's nasty, but it's there. The Rainbow Coalition gained more rights. American history, disparities in life outcomes between men and women, blacks and whites, gays and straights, prove that sexism, racism, and homophobia remain systemic. And it's true. I have spoken off and on considerably about this. Civil rights laws don't mean nothing. Why don't they mean nothing? Well, that first part about the right losing control to the left is horse hockey. You got more people in the middle right now than ever before. Ever before. Now they got one in here, and I'd tell you to look up this magazine online. Charlie Brown's World, the Peanuts papers. And as I read through it, I was really surprised at the memories it brought back. Peanuts. Shouldn't we know better by now? With so many disappointments under our belt, is Charlie Brown still going to try to kick the football? That, however intense our longing to live in Schultz's world, we never would. 5 cents, please. Anyway, none of what I've covered is of as great an importance as not allowing anyone to get between you and your food, to get between you and your freedom. You see, a free person is unique in that they have the capacity to boogie down the road confident in where they're going. Everybody else kind of wanders around. Now, how far does it go? Well, let's go to Cosmic Voice and see what people have got to say about all this. Ghosts. Oh. Now you can't get Genie back in the bottle. My. Which ETs are allied with that is under Peru? These are mostly friendlies. I answered that in print on the Facebook page. What do you think of Kerry Cassidy's info? Which batch you be talking about? ET information. Okay. I'm going to answer that like I usually do. try this one. Sort of, kind of, maybe. Depends on which ET you talk to. It depends on whether or not you use the information you get proactively. How come Gail Gill will not ask you if the Earth is flat or spherical? I have no idea. She's probably smart enough to stay out of it. But seeing as how you ask, it's round. Sorry, flat earthers. You see any planet flat in cosmos? Why should Earth be flat? And then the guy says, never mind. I give us the year for the 4D transition. It's supposed to be this year. And then the question is it summer or fall? Later this year, I was told. Spring would be nice. Well, you want to get your daffodils and all that sort of thing coming out. You know, make it look pretty. It keeps being pushed later and later. No, Linda, it doesn't. It's not being pushed around. The timeline that I looked at was future, not present. The present timeline stipulates this year. Now, whether or not this is going to be a nasty thing like the White Hat's agenda that I posted in this show stuff is questionable. Opening the collateral accounts could shut the cabal down. We're working on it. Aside from coronavirus shutting things down, the accounts could have done that too, plus a reset. Well, why not that way? You'll see when it gets open. Carolyn, who is really going to be the Dems Prez VP nominee? Somebody nobody will vote for. Are the Sumerian tablets accurate? Mostly. Now, you got to remember something about the Sumerian tablets. They do contain some prophecy. And as I stipulated and will continue to stipulate, prophecy is not written in stone. That's why the Mayans come up with their calendar, so that they could accurately predict what the hell was really going on. Now, I posted a brief history of conspiracy theories in this because I wanted people to understand about the ghosts. What do you think of this great question? What was the coronavirus created by the cabal as part of paid by, or was it created to affect the economy severely? You're hearing worldwide result of President Trump from? Yes. Part of Agenda 21, population reduction. So there you go, Patel. Assuming this is a bioweapon that was released by the cabal, let's say deep state, and it being a virus, do you think it's the worst thing that can be created and released because viruses have the ability to mutate and go through mutation? Well, no. This is a mild, light duty. It's only been done for political effect. You'll see how that works, and we'll find out whether or not certain people are right. You said you're working on a solid-state device. Yeah. That I am doing, in process. White Hat's taking control of unacknowledged programs, secrets. And my response to that was, got popcorn? It went stale, waiting. So it was as old as we are, 77, not 72, my goodness. I'm not quite that old, but did you see the virus coming, or was it planned ahead of time or a surprise? I saw it coming. They had to do something. They couldn't allow things to continue. And somebody said you'd get more popcorn. Good idea. You may need it. You're saying you get your popcorn since your debut in April 2012. Well, of course. I'd have something to do. I won't have any piece of eat popcorn. Linda, take a break, please. Medicare, Medicaid doesn't have dental, vision, or hearing. Yeah, it does. Depends on which one you're in. Medicaid doesn't. Medicare does. Badly broken teeth. Can't afford to fix. Can't afford to fix it. Well, relax. The healing computers will take care of that. You'll end up growing new teeth. Isn't that neat? We will be in prison because we cannot pay our debts. No, debtor's prison's done away with. Earlene, thank you for your time. Everybody's welcome to my time. Have to wait until after the election for real action. I thought that was the promise Trump came in with, drain the swamp. Well, we're pulling the plug, but the problem is that there's a lot of water in there. Now I have to wait till he gets reelected. Just wanted to be funny. Okay, Linda, I see how you are. I posted something right under this, 33 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Think about that very, very carefully. Thank you for a good show. Look, it's not gonna, things are not gonna change as drastically as some people think. Now, I've heard that Mike Pence is not interested in running as VP, and Trump has chosen a female VP. And that's going to get interesting. It really is. This is not normal. Breaking. AG Barr makes his move. Obama's top 3 allies hauled in. Really? There's no names named. McCain, Comey, and Strutt. Well, we'll see. If they were arrested, Adam Schiff freezes up as Devin Nunes schools him. Well, he needs to be schooled with a 2x4. All very interesting. Look, the situation is simple. We're not going to be in a position to worry about too much of anything. That comes from E.T. I'm talking about somebody in charge upstairs, not some podunk that wants to get famous, all right? Number 2, we don't have the personnel to declare martial law. You can declare it, but there ain't much you're going to be able to do about it. And number 3, I'd like to see how Muslims are going to handle a government change to something along the line of republic like we have. That means you don't get to do just anything you want. You go after somebody, we come after you. Just that simple. That's not going to be fun, but that's the way it is. Now, this is just an interlude. This is not finalization of anything. Bear that in mind, basically, as well. And do everybody a favor. Go out and about and get her done.